Lyrics of the Lost.
Hello, and welcome to episode 6. As you know by now, we don't muck about, so let's get straight into it. Episode 6 is this!
Sing us a song, you're the piano man.
Piano Man, Billy Joel, 1973. This song was suggested by avid listener and friend of the show, Jennifer, who we'll be hearing from shortly. We also have our regular guest analyst, Dave, this time live via satellite from his regional backwoods Unabomber cabin where the connection drops in and out because of all the tinfoil shielding he's wrapped his home with. Sing us a song, you're the piano man, the crowd implore to Billy. Right away, it sounds like they're not big fans of his piano playing if they want him to sing instead. Play the piano, you're the piano man, would seem like the more logical demand. Who are these people with their unreasonable demands? Normal people don't demand, bake me a cake, you're the podiatrist? Or check my prostate, you're the Governor General? I mean, this sort of thing just causes arguments. But I do get that drunk people can be like that. Troublemakers. All of them. It's possible they're asking him to sing and play the piano at the same time. But I don't really buy that. Do people really want a piano player in a bar to sing? Maybe pianists sung a lot more back in the 70s. Maybe. But the piano in a lounge bar should be there to add a bit of tinkly background noise to make the customers feel a bit more sophisticated about their alcohol problem. And that's it. Just background. These people, he goes on to describe, are busy with their novels and politics and memories. Surely they don't want Billy all, look at me, I'm singing. This is where I find the lyrics are fishy, and I believe Billy Joel is a pathological liar. Now it's high time we heard from Jennifer, who came to us with Piano Man, and to share her thoughts.
Billy Joel, the Piano Man. What can I say? It's iconic. It's legendary. It's the 70s, the 80s. It's my childhood and my youth. I thought I was pretty cool when I discovered Cold Spring Harbor, but that's neither here nor there, and neither is it the Piano Man. When I hear this song, it takes me back to one of the first concerts I ever went to. I remember going to see Billy and thinking, I'm going to enjoy this. The man has a voice of an angel. It's beautiful. But dude, the gyrating, the rubbing up and down the microphone stand. Oh, Billy. You may be the piano man, but it's your voice. It's your song. It's your lyrics. It's your music. It is not your funny little face gyrating up and down a pole. Leave that to the Rod Stewarts of the world. The Prince, those that can do it. Those that can rile up an audience with their physical presence. But Billy. It is your song, Piano Man. Please stick with your song. That's what we love.
Well, there you go. Some pretty kind words there on his music, but she's had to fail him on the poorly delivered raw sexuality in his stage performance. But what of the lyrics, Jennifer?
So let's address the elephant in the room. Is Piano Man a song about a gay bar? I know it's controversial. Hear me out. Or don't hear me out. Your choice, your personal opinion. But you listen to it, the list of men that are at the bar. You've got the sailors. I don't want to say stereotypes, but they come for a reason. You've got the construction worker. You've got half of village people there, to be fair. Let's just go out on a limb and say that. So, Piano Man, your audience, it's a good one. It's you that they're coming to see.
Yes, there are a lot of hints that this is actually a gay bar. Davy the sailor, check. Construction worker, I actually can't find that lyric. Maybe he does a longer version live that includes one, plus a policeman, cowboy, and Native American. Perhaps, but there's more clues too.
There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. He says, son, can you play me a memory?
If someone next to you at the bar is looking at you, talking to you, while they are slowly filleting a glass, that's definitely flirting. That's a dead set giveaway right there.
And they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here?
And of course they say, man, what are you doing here? Because this is a gay bar.
Embrace the Piano Man, but not too closely, if you know what I mean.
Thanks, Jen. Piano Man is supposedly based on Billy's real-life experiences as a lounge musician in Los Angeles from 1972 to 73. Truth is, I contend that nobody in the bar ever asked Billy Joel to sing. And he was so hurt by that he wrote this song in petty revenge and wish fulfillment, painting himself as this highfalutin, snotty piano player looking down his nose at the audience of pathetic drunkards and careerless bar staff that all beg him to sing. I don't believe it. They didn't say, sing us a song, you're the piano man. They said, shut the up and play the piano, you're the piano man, for Christ's sake.
No, I think they wanted him to sing. They didn't want him to play piano.
Or perhaps they wanted him to play the harmonica, which seems to feature even more prominently in this song.
No, I do not believe that. No, see, look, you have to go back to the lyrics. It says, we're all in the mood for a melody, and that's not the harmonica. Sorry, particularly not the harmonica playing in this song. We're all in the mood for some wheezing noises, is what they should be saying if they wanted the harmonica.
Billy writes that the audience say, man, what are you doing here? As if he's way too good to be playing in a bar. And he writes, the manager gives him a smile because he knows it's him they've been coming to see. Jesus, the ego on this guy. More and more, these sound like desperate lies to compensate for a tiny pianist. Yes, I did just go there. Billy Joel is only 5'5". Incidentally, you too can visit celebheights.com, where they have thoughtfully catalogued the heights of over 13,000 celebrities. I don't know if they have some method accounting for ongoing growth or shrinkage in later life. Billy is 72 now and probably a bit more hunched and shorter. Plus, he's completely bald. If you look at photos of Billy in the 1970s, he really tried to put a lot of extra height into his hair. Small man syndrome. Bigging himself up in any way he can think of. But that's celebrities for you. Nothing new there. Fair enough. And he's done all right for himself. Speaking of all right...
Well, we're all in the mood for a melody, and you've got us feeling all right.
He's probably underplayed that last bit. Could be the truth is starting to slip in there. That last bit...
And you've got us feeling...
all right, I suppose. I'm all right. I've been better. I mean, the bartender is probably more responsible for my passable mood, to be honest. But yeah, I wouldn't mind a melody, sure. Can do without the singing, though. So yeah, Billy's song, ostensibly about the characters in the bar, actually tells us more about himself. He can't help himself. It's ultimately self-aggrandizing and pure sociopath, maybe.
Well, it's interesting you talk about being self-aggrandizing, because I felt that these lyrics sounded like the kind of lyrics that somebody wrote and sat back and thought, you know, they're pretty pleased with them. And I to me, it seems like they're not quite as smart as he thinks they are, really.
Yes.
And
And he certainly certainly making himself to be the big star around all of these people. He's
Well,
the
I
one.
think there's another. I think there's another way you could interpret the line, "Man, what are you doing here?" Frankly, like, we've thrown you out 3 times already. What are you doing here?
There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin.
Now, see, that's a line that I think isn't as clever as it makes out to be, because they've had to reverse the words tonic and gin. If you'd managed to rhyme something with gin and tonic.
Nobody says tonic and gin.
Nobody says tonic and gin. And frankly, the whole line about their, they're sharing...
Sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone.
I reckon he sat back and thought that was a fantastic line.
Yeah, it sounds like a clever line, but really it's not. They're sharing a drink called loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. So they're sharing loneliness alone. No, but they're not alone, and yet they're sharing loneliness.
Exactly. Superficially clever, but when you look at it more deeply, stupid.
It's just it's too many layers.
Too many layers. But we can take it literally, because this is literally a drink they call loneliness. And I found the internet on the Absolute Vodka website.
Oh.
And I figured I'd...
Now, hang on. Are you saying that on this website this is actually a drink called loneliness?
It is a drink called loneliness. It is literally a drink they call loneliness.
Wow.
I haven't tasted it yet.
Oh.
I figured I would work out what the taste of loneliness is for the sake of the podcast. It contains vodka. Well, the recipe contains vodka, orange bitters, lemon juice, vanilla syrup, and egg white. So it already sounds disgusting.
Wow.
But I wasn't able to get hold of orange bitters or vanilla syrup, so I've had to use Angostura bitters and glucose syrup with some vanilla in it. I mean, strictly speaking, we should be sharing this because it's better than drinking alone. But for the sake of science, I have another drink that I can drink alone.
Oh, so this would be the control sample in the experiment.
That's quite nice. And then we'll see if the experience of drinking this is better than the experience of drinking the other drink alone.
Interesting.
Cheers. That is disgusting.
Oh. Just like loneliness is.
Just like loneliness.
No one's more disgusted by some lonely person who's come out in public to be lonely and pathetic, and nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to taste it.
And you had to separate eggs to make that drink.
I did. And because it's been sitting here for a short time, the egg is now separated and is floating on the top of the drink.
It's got a bit of a skin on it.
It's got a bit of a skin on it.
Wow.
I did that all for the sake of the podcast, and I'm never doing it again.
Well, that's incredible research.
It is, isn't it? I have to wash it down with my wine.
Anyway, let's have a look at the characters. The old man sitting next to him at the bar says,
He says, son, can you play me a memory? I'm not really sure how it goes, but it's sad and it's sweet and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes.
That might be a good tip. So many of us have trouble remembering things. Maybe you walk into your kitchen, can't remember exactly why you came in. Well, have you tried squeezing into a younger man's clothes and see if that helps you recall? There could be something in the constriction of the garments that forces more blood into your head and nourishes the brain so you remember.
Yes.
Or maybe because you'll be thinking, geez, I look ridiculous in these spandex bicycle shorts. And that distraction loosens your mind from being overly vexed by that one thing you're trying too hard to remember. And so the mind can unknot itself and, oh yeah, I was going to try a bit of that wasabi cheese I bought yesterday. But before wearing a younger man's clothes, it's important to ask him for permission. He might be concerned that you'll stretch out the neck on his favourite t-shirt, And it might be an official Lyrics of the Lost t-shirt, available soon. And beware of hygiene concerns if you're thinking of trying on his underwear. Best to play by the rules of the fitting rooms at the shops. If trying on swimmers or lingerie, put them on over your pants so you don't spread E. coli. But also because they will feel tighter because they're on over your pants, and therefore will help you remember quicker. And also, you can briefly look like you're a superhero. Although not the superheroes of today. They don't do the tight underwear over the pants anymore. Just to digress briefly,
Yes.
I recently found out that the old superheroes were designed in those weird uniforms because back in the 1930s, when Superman and Batman were developed, circus and carnival wrestlers were a big thing. And they did all of that old wrestling in a sort of underpants and body stocking ensemble, possibly for safety reasons, or just so that their penis wouldn't flop out at an odd moment and cause a public outrage. So anyway, that's what kids saw tough, manly men wearing, and they were idolized. And so that got borrowed by the cartoon hero creators. It's taken a couple of generations, but eventually someone realized these heroes look ridiculous. Kids no longer have that connection of respect and adoration towards people wearing underpants over a body stocking. So now your Henry Cavill Supermans and your Christian Bale Batmans just have some sort of one-piece battle armor onesie to wear. But we need to get back to wearing a younger man's clothes to help you remember things.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, I know younger men often seem to have a bit of attitude about them, but you'd be surprised, I think, how approachable they really are. I mean, sure, you'll feel a little awkward the first time, but if you just politely knock on the door of a younger man's home in the neighborhood and you just plainly explain the problem to them, like, "Good morning. I'm trying to remember. I used to know, but I've forgotten how tall Billy Joel is. I don't have my phone with me, or I'd just check celebheights.com. So, do you mind? Could I try on a pair of your Y-fronts to start with?" And if he's even half decent as a neighbor, he'll say, oh yeah, well, you better come in." And remember, wear them outside the pants, and then in a few minutes, hopefully you'll be remembering everything. And you might even have made a new friend along the way.
It's funny you should mention superheroes, because I was wondering, having read the lyrics, that maybe we should be looking a little bit more literally at the name Piano Man. He's a man, but he's also a piano. Is it possible that he is the Piano Man in the same way that Peter Parker is the Spider-Man or Bruce Wayne is the Batman?
Or Jeff Goldblum becomes the Fly.
Well, exactly. So perhaps an accident with the particle accelerator or the teleportation device, although what that would be doing in a piano bar, I don't know, has left Billy with characteristics of a piano. Perhaps his DNA has been fused to a piano. And I'm wondering what his superpower could be if he is in fact the Piano Man.
Rocket Man sounds way more. Elton John sounds way more like a superhero with Rocket Man than.
Yeah, that's trying too hard.
Maybe his superpower is when there's danger around, Piano Man can feel his piano strings tingling, and so he starts playing his music and singing his special siren song, which drives villains to drink at the bar and forget all their evil ambitions.
But think about Davy, who's still in the Navy and probably will be for life. Perhaps he's a bit like Aquaman. He's working for the Navy, destroying mines or something, and he has to come to the bar.
So there could be a whole Justice League type of group here. There's Davy Navy.
Davy from the Navy. There's the Piano Man. The waitress who's practicing politics. I wondered whether she might in fact be a supervillain who's working her way up to taking over the world.
Yes, possibly a
supervillain that's trying to ensnare the political leaders of planet Earth by wearing a blue dress and having them ejaculate all over her, and impeachment. Like
I was wondering where
Bill
you're
Clinton.
going with the ejaculation.
Bill Clinton. I'm going
Clinton.
back a fair while, but
Yes.
blue dresses
You could
ejaculate.
remember that when you were wearing a younger man's clothes, I'm sure.
Well, we were all wearing younger men's clothes back in the
Yes.
late 80s.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Elton John, Rocket Man, you can fly through the air as a rocket. What can you do as a piano?
Well, I'm not saying it's a good superpower.
No.
I'm just saying he didn't ask for it. Perhaps there was an accident at the particle accelerator. He ended up being fused with a piano. He has no choice now but to work in a piano bar. And people don't treat him well. All they do is stick bread in his jar. That's all he's got to eat, frankly, is just bread. And I guess his only friend is John at the bar. I'm not sure whether John has a superpower or not, or whether he just works in a superhero bar.
Well, every superhero's got to have an offsider. Someone who represents both the fallibility of the superhero, because the villains can get to John at the bar as a way of getting at Piano Man. Obviously, you can't attack a piano. It's just too strong, especially if it's a grand. And you've got to then attack John at the bar instead.
I don't know. Mind you, he's quick with a joke or to light up your smoke, so maybe he's got the power of fire from his fingers.
Fireman.
Okay.
Yes.
Fireman. We've got Piano Man, Davy Navy, and John at the bar. The Justice League.
John at the bar. It's not the best name for a superhero of the league.
It's all we've got.
And you don't want someone too quick with the flames when you're a piano. They're typically made of wood.
That's true.
As the businessmen slowly get stoned.
As the businessmen slowly get stoned. This is a Saturday night. What sort of businessmen are putting on their suits, presumably to be recognized as businessmen,
Oh, yes.
on a weekend to then come into a bar and they're getting stoned? Why aren't they doing coke?
Well, because it's not the 80s.
It's not the 80s. It was the
It's
70s.
the 70s.
That's right.
Yeah, it's pre-Coke.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, see? Well, but I think you're right. I think this is more of a Friday night scene. This is miserable businessman coming in after work. Again, I don't know why he's getting stoned. That's more of a hippie thing to do.
It's kind of hard to do in public too. Like you could do coke a lot easier if it was available.
They sit at the bar and put bread in my jar.
We should note to take care when giving a pianist bread, as it may not be part of their natural diet, especially cheap Wonder White type of bread, which can inflate in their gut and cause sickness or even death.
Absolutely true. And never give them honey.
Honey.
It's bad for a pianist's beak.
If you do give him bread, maybe go for a multigrain. At Billy's age, he's like 72. Keeps him regular.
That's true.
Well, thanks for joining us here in episode 6. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Wasabi Cheese, celebheights.com, and the Multigrain Breadboard. You might not have picked up on the subtle product placement as it was seamlessly worked into the narration of this episode. And this is why sponsors come to us at Lyrics of the Lost. Integrated advertising solutions.
Lyrics of the Lost.